I had an older sister and an older brother, but they both died shortly after they were born, so I grew up as an only child. I didn't know about them while I was growing up. Mum and Dad never once mentioned them. I sometimes said I wished I had a little sister or brother to play with. They just shook their heads at me and said, being an only child was much more special. I never dreamt I'd had 2 potential siblings. I only found out last summer. Mum had just started her job at Wallace, the dress shop, and Dad was busy driving day trippers to Brighton and Eastbourne and Worthing, so I was left to amuse myself during the holidays. I didn't mind in the slightest being home by myself. I read a great deal and wrote some very bad poetry. If I felt lonely, I chatted to Miss Wong, a very glamorous Chinese girl in a painting hanging on our wall. Mum felt it was posh to have pictures on the wall, and Dad said Miss Wong was a real good looker. One day, I decided to have a good ferret through the cubbyhole. As we lived in a prefab, we didn't have an attic, but we had a very big walk-in cupboard where Mum stored old things. There was a trunk full of her clothes, including her wedding dress. I tried it on, though it wasn't very pretty, and the white silk had yellowed. It wasn't proper silk, because you couldn't buy that during the war when she got married. Apparently, my grandma had made it out of parachute silk. I took the dress off, tried on an uninspiring purple evening dress instead, and wound a drooping fox tippet round my neck. But the bad-tempered little animal face unnerved me, and I thrust all the clothes back in the trunk. There was a big box right at the back that had once held a dozen Christmas crackers. That surprised me, because we never bothered having crackers with our festive roast chicken, as there were just the 3 of us. Perhaps my parents were more sociable in the past. I lifted the lid and then stared in surprise. There were knitted baby clothes, 2 sets of matinee jackets and bonnets and booties with tiny satin ribbons, one in pale pink, the other powder blue. They both looked brand new. There were more baby things too. A little china mug with rabbits, a tiny teddy bear, a bottle with a rubber teat, a tin of Johnson's baby powder, even a jar of zinc cream to prevent nappy rash. I opened it and saw the cream had never been used. I thought they must be my baby things, but I couldn't work out why they'd been kept untouched in the cracker box. I put everything back carefully, apart from the pale pink booties. I still had my big baby doll, Rosebud, though of course I didn't play with her now. She had a full set of her own clothes, but her feet were bare. The pink booties fitted her perfectly. I forgot all about exploring the cubbyhole until Monday, Mum's day off when she did her weekly spring clean. She took my doll and my whimsy china ornaments off the windowsill to give them a good dusting and discovered Rosebud's new shoes. "Where did you get these booties, Laura?" she demanded, holding Rosebud upside down and brandishing her newly shod feet at me. My heart started thudding. I knew I wasn't really allowed to go rooting through the cubbyhole. "Oh, I just found them," I said vaguely. "I know where too. You found them in the cracker box, didn't you?" Mum said. She was actually shaking. I shook my head and pointlessly denied it. "Yes, you did. You found them in the cracker box," Mum said, her voice rising. There was a programme on children's television called Cracker Jack. I thought it very silly, especially when the audience had to shout out, "Cracker Jack!" when someone won a prize. Mum sounded as if she was taking part in the show, so I couldn't help grinning, and Mum slapped my face. It was the first time she'd hit me, and I burst into tears of shock. Mum did too. She sat on the end of my bed sobbing, clutching Rosebud to her chest. Mum, don't cry," I said. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you so." "I know," said Mum, struggling to gain control of herself. She rubbed her eyes and blinked at my face. "Oh dear, your cheek's gone all red. I didn't really hurt you, did I? But you shouldn't have gone poking in that cracker box, it's private."